Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Director of Football Sabotage with Livorno. So in today's episode we are going to play through the January transfer window where we'll also find out who we face in the Champions League first knockout round. So we're following on from the demolition job against Sparta Prague in the final group game of our Champions League. We followed it up with an amazing 6-0 home win against AC Milan. Ventroni opened the score and Altener, Ralovic with a hat-trick and Kyle Wright secured the 6. And then a hugely disappointing 1-1 home draw against, at the time of playing, 17th placed for Fiorentina. We did take the lead through Altener in the 28th minute, then they got a very late equaliser in the 88th minute. Arturo Reyes with that. We bounced back though with a away win against Palermo. Ralovic getting himself a hat-trick. He really did come into his own in the last few games. Ponce had a bit of a quiet spell, but Ralovic definitely stepped up to the plate. Next was a home tie against Napoli, in which I actually dropped Ponce for today's game due to his poor form really, and Weber came in for him and got himself a double in this game, with Ralovic getting one also. We then faced Inter Milan and Ponce got back on the score sheet after he got back into the side. He put us in the lead 30 minutes in. Kyle Wright doubled our lead on the 73rd. And that is all of the games that have been played since the last time we met. And there we are. There we have it. Our first knockout round game in the Champions League is against Real Madrid. So let's look forward to that. But anyway, that brings us to today's episode, which is the January transfer window. One player looks very likely to leave, which is Petr Rada. We have accepted a £5.5 million bid from Everton, so he is very likely to leave the club after being here for quite a while actually. And this is the thing that I was worried about. Man City have made an offer of could rise to 90 million for Ponce. Our director of football has actually rejected this, so if my theory is correct, when a news article comes in and it says a specified price, that's the price that our director of football would accept, which as it stands is £94 million. So it might not be too long until somebody comes in and takes Ponce off us, which would completely be devastating. Our team would never be the same. He's by far the best player in terms of raw attributes that we currently own. And at £78 million, 94 would just be bad business. But we'll wait and see how it goes. We might be able to keep on to him. We might not. We have signed 5 new players. They were all youth players who have signed. I'll quickly show you them. Ailton Semedo for £1.4 million. He's a central midfielder who's highly rated by my scouts, so I decided to bring him in. Roberto Rodriguez, a Spanish striker who he was... my scouts definitely rated him higher than that. He's joined the club, 625k. He might be a bit of a flop. Bonifacio Carubo, a goalkeeper, £1.7 million. Portuguese, looks decent. Hopefully he will improve a lot in the future. We'll maybe see him. Karel Vajšadil, who is a Czech striker. He's now worth 2.8 million after signing for 4.1. It was a big deal, but he was very, very highly rated by my staff. He's only 16 years old, so hopefully plenty of room to grow there. And this one, you might actually see in the first team. Ayrton Cruz, signing for £4.4 million. I had visions of him being our backup goalkeeper, especially with that potential. I would try and give him as much game time as possible, and maybe he would be Plizzari's replacement, should Plizzari ever leave the club. But yeah, you know the score about the January transfer windows now. I'm just going to play through it. I'll show you any games that come through, the results of which. I think we've got an Italian Cup first round against Benevento, so we'll definitely be playing that. There might even be a league game slotted in there somewhere as well, as the January transfer window tends to end quite early in Italy compared to other leagues. So we'll continue on and we'll see what happens. So we have just played Benevento in the first round of the Italian Cup and we've won 2-0. Weber getting both goals. He really is performing well. When I am giving him game time, it's just I don't really want to drop Ponce or Ralovic due to how good they are. In terms of the schedule, we do have 2 more games in the January transfer window. It is Juventus and Torino. I'm not sure if Torino is on the final day of the window or not. That might be me making it up completely. I think it is, yeah. It runs out on the 18th. So we've got 2 more games to go. There's been no more offers for any of my players. In terms of incomings, I'm not really looking for anything in particular right now. Centre-backs is always a key issue for me, and I would love to improve my centre-backs. But at the minute, I know there's nobody out there. Well, this wasn't one that I've seen coming, and it's one that I'm absolutely devastated by if it is to occur. Dimitar Vasilev has been... That's such a poor offer. £29 million all in, with a percentage of profit of next sale. He's worth 26. He's our starting left wing-back. Why? Why would you accept 29 million? That's such a poor deal. So it looks like we're in the hunt for a left wing back. And there's the first sale gone through for this January transfer window. Petarada has joined Everton in a fee which could rise to £5.5 million. They have got themselves a bit of a bargain. As you can see, he's already jumped up to £16 million worth of value. He wasn't one of our first choices, and although he did make a good number of appearances for us over the years, he was replaced quite quickly after he arrived. So thanks, but no thanks. The good news is nobody's coming for Ponce yet. So we've just played Juventus in the Italian Super Cup and won 2-0. Ponce and Vlahovic with the goals. We hold on to the Italian Super Cup. Hooray. Well, that was a game. We've just ended up drawing 2-2 against Torino in the league, and we were very fortunate to get away with that. We took the lead through Nahuel Ponce in the 24th minute. They equalised 3 minutes later, and then Saavedra decided to get himself sent off in the 49th minute. So we were down 10 men for the majority of the second half. Bertrand Traore actually gave Torino the lead in the 87th minute, but Ponce managed to equalise in the 93rd. It was a penalty. Well. I offered Vasilev a new contract after Red Bull Leipzig had the £30 million offer accepted, and he's signed a new contract with us. We've got a win. That is a win. That is a massive win. We don't need to go out now to sign a left wing back. We wouldn't have been able to sign one as good as Vasilev. So the fact that he is staying is just as good as signing a new player. We are on transfer deadline day, and we have decided to take part in it to see what happens. And Juventus have made an offer for one of our youth goalkeepers, Matteo Romano, in a fee which could potentially rise to £14 million. I mean, he looks okay, and he looks like he could develop quite well. 4-star potential, 2-star current. He's Italian, 17 years old. 14 million? Alright, I'll take it. And there he goes, he's out the door. In a fee which could rise to 14. Well, let's just assume he doesn't make that. 7.25 million for one of our youths, who, to be honest with you, although he looked decent, unless he'd rapidly improved, he probably would have never made it into the first team squad. You never know how a player's going to develop on this year's game. You know, I never put too much bang on the star rating system this year. Particularly this year. You never really should, but particularly this year. The speed of development seems to be much slowed down compared to previous years, so you've got to be a lot more careful when you're trying to just chuck your youth players into the first team. So £7 million with extras to come, and I think we had a percentage of profit in case he does actually turn out to be a superstar. It's a bid worth accepting. And the transfer window is about to shut. There's not too long left. We're at 10 o'clock. I believe it shuts at 11. And to be honest with you, it looks like that's going to be all she wrote for this window. And it's been a quiet one, a very quiet one. And to be honest with you, we needed a quiet one. After the last few windows were hard with the sort of players that have left the club, we really could have done with the quiet transfer window. The only risk that came where it was Dimitar Vasilev, £29 million. He nearly left the club, but he decided to sign a new contract at the club. Obviously, Ponce had an offer in from Manchester City of £90 million, which we rejected. Thankfully, we were rejected. He is still wanted by Liverpool and Bayern, but neither of them came in with an offer. So he is staying at the club also. And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how the January transfer window's gone, even though we didn't bring in anyone ourselves. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you are enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.